What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning to another episode of Right on Cue Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Logan Chestnut, Small Batch BBQ. Joining me tonight for his little hiatus. He's finally back in the scene, Mr. Houston Lyle of also Small Batch BBQ. What's up, brother? What's up, stranger?
Great to be back.
How's it feel? I mean, you took a little hiatus from the world of barbecue. I mean, are you like me? Do you miss it when it's gone? When it's not in your life a little bit?
I've been thinking about it like every Monday. I'm like, man, it's another show. It's just I had a wife been on the road about 6 weeks straight, and I've been about 4 weeks of work travel, and it's
you gotta do what you gotta do, man. I mean, family comes first for sure. I said, we had like I said, the last month has been it's been a great show. Like I said, we had all the proteins, all the guys doing their tell-alls. That was a blast. And then we had Mr. Eric Cantrell on last episode.
No, I was bummed to miss that one too.
Spilling all the judges' secrets. So if you guys didn't see that one, I highly recommend checking that out. That was cool. Me and him, we're at the same hat size. Huge. I mean, it's big.
Size bucket.
Size bucket. No. That's right. Outside of work, man, how's everything been going your way?
Good. It's been busy. I'm just trying to settle into the end of the school year, getting ready for summer.
I know. Did you watch any of the Final Four games?
I watched every last bit of March Madness.
It was a great year.
Going into the championship round, I was in the 97th percentile of brackets.
Really?
And then finished out around like 94%. Yeah.
You would think, though, this year, obviously, all the four number ones made it through to the Final Four. You would think that would happen more often, but that rarely happens.
No.
And that's why March Madness is that's why March Madness, like football, it's pretty common for like the top four, top six to finish it. But basketball, I mean, that's just why March Madness is so awesome.
No, I mean, I heard so much flack about the tournament and how uninteresting it was, but I had to disagree. I thought like all of the Elite Eight games were fantastic games.
Oh yeah, Elite Eight, Final Four. Sweet 16 has some fantastic games.
Sweet 16, it had a couple of laughers, but for the most part, they were pretty good games.
I mean, you Tennessee boys got revenge on my Kentucky Wildcats, but you know what? We finished way better than I ever thought we would, so I'll take it.
No, I actually had Tennessee going out a round earlier than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Rick Barnes just hasn't really shown that he can go that deep into that tournament yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and on the opposite end, you've had some action on the Tennessee football side. Nico, I'm a leaver.
It's like that. Nico, I'm a leaving.
I'm a leaving. That's like so funny. His last name. It literally spells out like I'm a leaving.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
did you see his request about what he wanted? A Bugatti. Yeah. He wanted a Bugatti and like $2 million. What up, Hank?
Hey, say hi.
But yeah, that's crazy.
Right, let me get back to it, big guy. Love you. Yeah, they only make 70 of them a year.
Yeah, and they're $4 million a piece.
They're $4 million a piece, and almost all of them are prepaid by people in the Arab Emirates.
Oh yeah,
like they order almost all of them like before they even start making the next model year.
Dude, he can afford the insurance on that car, even with making that kind of money. I mean, just the maintenance and insurance. I saw somewhere it's like for an oil change for one of those, it's like $40,000.
Right. Well, they have 12 radiators. It's nonsense anyway. Like UT couldn't get their hands on one if they wanted to. Like if they wanted to give this kid this car, they couldn't buy one.
No, it's like walking into a Rolex store and saying, "Oh, I would like to buy this Panda, please," and they're like, "There's a 6-year wait list."
Exactly. And by the way, it's going to be $4.5 million. I mean, it was absurd, but they're going to have to figure this out somehow because it's just starting to get out of hand at this point.
I'm waiting for Jerry Maguire to get in here, just jumping up and down. Show me the money. That's what I felt like he was doing.
No, I mean they'll correct it back, but we're gonna.
I'm all for them getting paid. I've been a adamant supporter of it.
I am too, but
I
the
am,
way that they're getting paid is absurd.
yeah.
They just need to make them university employees.
There you go.
Put them on contract for 3 years. You got an optional 4th year. Put a morality clause where they can bounce them if they get drunk and wrap their Z06 Corvette around a
Oh,
telephone pole,
only if they were not performing well. If they're
or
performing well,
beat a girlfriend up,
right?
wrap a
Yeah.
car around a telephone
Get a
pole.
Ray Lewis situation.
Right, put a buyout clause in it. I mean, I don't understand why they haven't done this, because we know that there are plenty of universities are full of student employees. Like,
I know.
I worked for my university.
I know.
Like,
It's but like college football, people are like think about the money that's getting thrown at these kids. I mean, but college football is billions of dollars, billion-dollar industry, billions of dollar industry. So it is what it is, especially the SEC. But anyways,
speaking
man,
of heavy hitters, though,
yeah, I know. I'll say let's bring it back. Let's reel it back into the woohoo. No, let's bring it back into the world of barbecue, man. We got a great guest tonight, guy that I have been keeping track of from afar. I got to meet him briefly last year at the Invitational. He kicks butts week in and week
smokes
out on
them
the
too.
smokes them too on the barbecue trail, and he is the beast from the Northeast, man. So without further ado, let's welcome to the stage Mr. Bill Gillespie from Smoking Hog Barbecue.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Welcome,
brother. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on and grace or blessing us with your presence.
Oh, please. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit before the show, man. Tell us how your season's going so far, and how long have you been doing it this year?
Season's been going pretty well. We started back in January. Went down to Lakeland, Florida. Went to Pig Fest. Did that. We finished. I think we finished like 7th with like a 7:02, which is kind of crazy. We just did a double contest this weekend in Connecticut. So it's like contest number 5 and 6. We've been kind of hitting it all, struggling a little bit with brisket, but looking to kind of turn things around on that. I got a couple weeks off, and then we're kind of full into it starting in May, really.
I got you. Well, I mean, up in the Northeast, you guys probably started a little later than most, just because your weather. You don't get good barbecue weather until probably May, June.
Yeah, pretty
much.
Like this was kind of the kickoff for the Northeast this weekend. We did one mid-March down in Virginia, so that wasn't bad. Still a little chilly, but
I got you. What is your like radius you like to stay in whenever because how many contests you cook a year?
I think the last few years we've been somewhere around like 20 to 25 or so.
That's a fun number for a pro of your level.
Yeah, it keeps us busy for sure. But this year I think we're somewhere going to be around 30 to 34. I think.
Okay.
Good grief.
I know, but the thing with that though is there's like 13 doubles.
Okay.
So that makes it a lot more tolerable. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's only like 13 weekends. You know what I mean? So you're getting 26 contests worth. But still, those doubles, man. We've got this weekend was a double. My next, I think 4 after this are doubles, and three doubles in a row, like back to back to back weekends. So
I love doubles.
Yeah.
Do you? I hate them.
No,
I'm getting to hate them now, but
no. Well, it's like I like doubles because, like, so we, me and Houston, we only do. Last year was our biggest year. I think we did 18.
Yeah,
18, which is a lot. That's a lot for us. But doubles, though, I mean, it's a twofer, And I really love like last year we had one. It was like a 1 meat rib burn and then a double.
Okay,
and then. But the only doubles I hate are same day doubles. Have you done many of those?
Oh, I've done one. That's crazy.
They suck.
I mean, I turned in the same pork. I got 30th on one side and first on the other.
Yeah.
So same exact pork. Yeah. So
it does.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'll say if anybody has a chance to do it, I highly recommend you trying it out, taking it for a test
Oh,
spin.
definitely.
But there's no way in hell I would do like. Can you imagine back-to-back weekends of same-day doubles? That
No.
would destroy me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
No.
But I don't mind them so much, like the Royal, the KCBS Invitational, stuff like that. I don't mind doing the doubles.
No, that's
Or
big.
if I'm traveling kind of a far distance, like Virginia for us was 11 hours. So yeah, so that wasn't bad doing it. You're there, so you might as well do a double.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't understand the people that go to these doubles events and then they only sign up for one of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're there. You might as well just knock them both out while you're here.
Yeah. That happened this weekend. I think day one there was 30. Day two there was 35. So
yeah. I never understood that, but it is what it is. Bill, Lacey, I kind of put the cart before the horse here, man.
No, it's all right.
I'm gonna do the number one question on every podcast, man. For the people who don't know, who are living under a rock, let people know who you are and kind of how you came up with Smoking Hoggs Barbecue.
Yeah,
all right,
I was kind of hoping to hear that though.
Yeah, sure.
I do not associate the Northeast with barbecue.
Oh no, nobody does. Nobody does. And I got a couple funny stories for you later on too.
Absolutely.
Bill Gillespie, Smoking Hoggs Barbecue. I've been competing. This is my 20th year competing. Started in 2005. Worked with a couple of guys that just they cooked in their backyards and decided to do a contest, so I kind of tagged along. The four main categories, and then there was a fifth category. It was anything but. It was held down in Cape Cod, so it was like you had to use cranberries. So I did right. I did a grilled salmon with a cranberry glaze, and I took fourth place.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, it was good, and first contest getting the call, and that was kind of like my hook. That just, I was up all night. It was a cool experience. Definitely a cool experience. And here I am. 2008. I formed my own team, Smoking Hoggs. And been kind of riding it ever since.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
So Northeast, like I said, the flavor profiles, like I said, I mean, do you guys have more like seafood in your ancillaries and stuff like that, or?
We get a good mix. They'll do like a shrimp or, whatever, some sort of seafood. I mean, they'll do wings, burgers. This past weekend they had a hot dog ancillary. It just depends. I mean, like up here when I first started too, they had they still have it. It's now called the Northeast Barbecue Society. Okay. And they would sanction a 4-category contest, and that would be done on Saturday. So it would be more like grilling. So you do like sausage patty. It could be burger. It could be a vegetable. It could be seafood, anything really. And so that would always be done on Saturday, and then the KCBS on Sunday. But they haven't done too much lately with the 4 meats. They're concentrate more on like kids queue and backyard stuff.
I got you. So me and me and Houston are both part of the backyard scene down here in the South. And down here, like it's really strong, like northern Alabama, kind of Tennessee. Backyard scene's really strong down here. What's the scene looking like up there in the Northeast? Is there decent amount of teams?
It's so not so much the Northeast, but the Mid-Atlantic.
Right.
Okay. So Mid-Atlantic's got a ton of backyard teams. I think it's great. Like you go to a contest, there's 65 pro teams and there's 50 backyard teams, Yeah. So it's just, and up here in the Northeast, it's not so much. It's pretty much all, I guess, if you want to call it pro teams.
Teams.
Yeah. And there's a couple backyard teams and stuff, but they'll jump in every once in a while and do a pro contest or whatever. So
yeah, we met a team up from Maryland last year, a backyard team, something Crab. I can't remember what their name was. They did at BBQ, and they came down. And They did really, really well. It was cool to see them. It was cool to see. I love cooking against other, other teams from different areas. It's always cool to kind of compare notes and kind of see what their profile is. But yeah. So what kind of got you into like barbecue? Like Houston said, like Northeast is not something you think about.
No, definitely not.
Barbecue. So what kind of got you into that?
I've always been into cooking. I've been cooking since I was a young kid. Just growing up cooking in the backyard with my dad. And I got into Boy Scouts, so you're cooking over open fire. And then as I get older, go camping with my buddies, and I'd always do the cooking. And I mean, like everybody, they fell in love with like a barbecue rib. I loved ribs. That's what got me into it. And my very first smoker was a Brinkman gourmet charcoal smoker. So
nice.
The temperature gauge said low, ideal, and hot. There were no numbers on it. Yeah. And I got that actually from the Marlboro catalog. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yep.
So you'd get the UPC
get the save your points. Yeah.
And you save your points, and then I got my very first smoker from that. And I can tell you I did the first time ever cooking on it. I did a rack of ribs, and I think I did like 3 racks of ribs, and I basted them like every 20 minutes with the sugary baste. And by the time they were done, you couldn't even eat them. You could break them in half and they'd snap. Oh, they were bad. I think there was like maybe one bone in each rack that was somewhat edible, Yeah. So that was my first experience cooking my own ribs. And that's, 30 something years ago. Right. So, but yeah, it's just, I love to grill. I love to cook. And it just seemed like the next progression,
Right.
I'm very competitive. I've been playing some form of baseball or softball since I was a kid. So this is sort of taken over. Like I was in the bar leagues on Sunday mornings playing softball, men's softball league. So this is now my Sunday morning softball.
There you go.
Yeah.
Houston, have you noticed, like I said, a lot of the competitors we talk to, they all have some sort of like competition or military, something like aggressive competitive drive in their backgrounds. Like they're ex-athletes or they're something.
Yes.
They
want
to
some internal drive to compete.
Yeah.
Most of them do. Pretty much everyone.
And we all suck at golf. And it's just like you gotta, like you said, when you get to a certain age, you gotta have one overpriced hobby, and then this just happens to be ours.
Is it. Yeah. I started competing. I'm 52, so I started competing when I was 32. So
I got wow.
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what equipment are you working with?
So I cook on a Humphreys. It's an insulated cabinet smoker, kind of like a backwoods.
Yeah.
Yep. They're made right up here in Maine. And they've been making them, I want to say going on 12, 13 years now. Yeah.
So have you always cooked on one of those, or we saw you cooked on a Brinkman, but as far as competition wise, have you always cooked on insulated cabinets?
I have. So I started, I had an old offset, like a small New Brunswick offset and a WSM. And, I basically started on the WSMs. I had a bunch of those, and, I written a couple cookbooks on those and everything. And then I took a class in 2010 from Chris Hart, IQ. And he was cooking on he had his Jambo, and he was also had a backwoods Fat Boy. So I ended up buying that Fat Boy off of Chris and pretty much used that all off season, that 2010. So I was cooking on the Fat Boy and a WSM up until like 2013, roughly, I think. Yeah. And then switched over.
So like when you started off, like we talked, me and Houston, some of our guests have talked on this show. I feel like it depends on what year you get into this hobby, what kind of cooking apparatus that you use. So back, like I said, like say, I don't know what, 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, the Deep South, the Assassins, like everybody was using something like that. Was that kind of like your little era? I call them the eras of barbecue. Was that kind of your era? Pretty
much. It it was a lot of like backwoods and WSMs,
Mhm.
and there was they had I think it's still out there, the virtual Weber Bullet forum.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I was on that all the time. The Pickled Pig had a forum. There was another one, the Barbecue Brethren. And there was one other one too. I think it was just the Barbecue Forum, which I don't think is around anymore.
No.
But yeah, that's kind of where we got all our information. But yeah, everybody was pretty much, it was either some sort of an offset, a backwoods, or WSM.
I think when like Houston, me and you got in it, it was a lot of like I don't know, like pellet smokers were big, and then
People were
cans
still doing offsets though.
Yeah. Offsets have been the constant.
Oh, yeah.
Jambos, and now it's translated since Jambo's not making them anymore to Outlaws.
Right. Outlaws.
But so we got in like the can revolution was in early in, and so
in its kind of infancy.
Now it's everybody. So
man, I tell you, Tim and Brad, man, revolutionized that industry. That's just exploded. Yeah.
No, they really have.
Yeah.
And they're fantastic.
Well, and they're good cookers.
They're good. They're good cookers. I mean, we went out we were in Iowa a week and a half ago, and I cooked on cans for the second time of my life, and we did all right. We finished 12th overall. Had a call in pork just outside the top 10 in chicken. So we did all right.
I do like the look of these Humphreys, though.
Yeah,
they're pretty sleek. They're super efficient.
What is it? What it was like? Tell people who don't know kind of like what cabinet smoking's like. Give kind of like it's a charcoal at the bottom, and then tell like the different cooking styles versus cooking on like a can or an offset or something like that.
Yeah. So it's an indirect, I guess, reverse flow. So you have your fuel source charcoal on the bottom, and then your cooking chamber on top of that, and all the smoke and the heat come up from the sides and then down over the top, and then on the back, on the bottom and the back is where the exhaust goes, and it comes out through the top. So it's indirect, like I said, reverse flow, where the drum is more of a direct kind of heat, even though you can put like a small water pan to do a little indirect if you have to. But yeah, I mean, I can cook on my Humphreys, 300, 325 easily. So
nice.
You can do. Is
that kind of the range you like to stay in? Are you low and slow? Or are you kind of hot
I
and fast?
I was low and slow for a while. I would do everything around 250, and then as things kind of evolve, my program changes a little. You start to experiment, and now I'm cooking anywhere from 275 to 300 now.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So what is like, we talked about the Barbecue Brethren and stuff like that, the different forms, like when you're starting off, was that kind of how you learn? Because I mean, obviously the learning curve now is like tremendously, you've seen like people that are in the hobby that's 2 years and they're already winning GCs and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But back then people were still trying to figure out, like we didn't have these dinner roll chicken, chicken legs or dinner roll chicken thighs, and Myron Mixon was reinventing the wheel with the muffin pan, thighs and stuff like that.
I mean, the availability of classes.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think the market is just flooded with classes. And back then there weren't anything. There was hardly heard of any classes. And you get all your information from those forums. And one of the cool things I remember about the Pickled Pig forum is he had 4 different threads, I guess, if you will. One was competition chicken, ribs, pork, brisket, and he outlined his entire program on those threads. So that was kind of cool because that got a lot of people introduced to the blues hog that wasn't directly from that area. You know what I mean? So people from here or from out west, oh, he's using Blues Hog. Well, how can I get that? You know what I mean?
The secret sauce.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, that was kind of the information. And it even goes even further. Like, you had Steve Raichlen, like all his books and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So it's not
Yeah.
like it is now where the information is just endless.
I'm such a huge advocate for people, especially when they're starting off and continuing. So you need to CEUs for a lot of certifications nowadays in the workforce. You need it for barbecue too. Like I always love taking classes and checking out. Speaking of classes,
Mhm.
you yourself have a class on Barbecue Champs Academy that
I
a friend of
do.
mine took and just does nothing but rave about your classes on there.
Oh, awesome. Good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, I love, like I said, I've taken some of the classes on there, and I
Yep.
love how that kind of platform is. In-person
Yeah.
classes they're great. They have some
Yep.
big positives. You can taste the food, you can probe the meat,
Mhm.
you can ask all the questions. But the online classes is so nice because I can tell you how many times with the videos I've got, I'll pause it, rewind it, listen to it again, pause it, rewind it, listen to it again. Like, I bet
Yep.
for like one class, I bet I've watched it 8 times, just picking up little
Yeah.
nuances in
Yep.
there. Tell us about how that kind of process was, and how did you enjoy it? Was it different, like doing your
Yeah,
process?
no, it was definitely cool. We were at the Jack in 2023. I met Mike Steele there, and I guess he had just got finished doing Luke Darnell's class, so from the Mid Atlantic, and he come up to me and he goes, I don't have anybody from up here in the Northeast, and he goes, would that be something you'd be interested in doing? He goes, you'd have to come down to Louisiana, film it down there and everything, and I said, yeah, I said, I think that'd be pretty good. I said, the only thing is I'd have to find somebody that has a Humphreys down there, and it just couldn't worked out any better. But there was a guy 15 minutes away from him that had a Humphreys.
Wow.
So I couldn't believe it. Both Mike and I were like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I couldn't believe the stars aligned like that, But no, the whole process, we did it over a couple days, and ran it just like a KCBS timeline. And yeah, it was just kind of a cool process, So now I have that as far as like, I don't have to do so many in-person classes because it's the same thing I'm doing in person versus the video. But I've had people taking both. Like I had a guy last year took my in-person class and then took my online class, and I think he got his first RGC, and his wife came up to me afterwards and she said, she goes, I am so sick of hearing your voice. And I took that as like the biggest compliment, because he would just sit there and watch the videos over and over and over again, and so yeah, it's pretty cool because people can take my in-person class as well as that and have both of it. It's the same stuff.
Right. No, it's funny you say that because I've done that so many times. I'm like laying in bed, my wife's like, "What are you watching?" And like, it's like she's disappointed when she sees I'm watching another barbecue video like on there. She goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Again." I'm like, "Yes, again. Thank you. I'm learning something new. All right, there's something I didn't pick up before."
Yeah,
Can't you just watch smut?
Yeah, I know. Like,
I
honestly, I think she would prefer that to like watching the same barbecue how-to video for like the 35th time.
Exactly. I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still watching all that stuff. So yeah, definitely.
What have you seen? Like I said, you've been in this game a long time. Have you seen kind of like the flavor profiles change over the years, and like what kind of waves have you seen kind of going through, or has it been pretty similar?
I think it's just a well-balanced flavor profile, I mean, I don't think it's really, especially competition barbecue, because it's all, most of it's KCBS. I mean, CBA is making a good run. I just think a well-balanced profile, throughout is gonna kind of stay relevant,
Do you notice any differences in what you cook up in Massachusetts versus a profile that may be more successful across the geographic area that you guys are doing comps in a given season?
No, I mean, my profile stays the same.
Okay.
Like I don't change it no matter if I'm here, Florida, on the West Coast, the Midwest. It's all the same. I know some people change. Like some people, I like the Southeast is maybe a little bit more sweeter, so they might kind of back that off a little bit if they're going like a different region.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I haven't on my profile. I haven't really changed. I don't really change anything.
I mean, we like
Nice.
our barbecue with a side of diabetes down here.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all pretty sweet for the most part, but yeah.
And it's different even in some states. I've
Yeah.
noticed that even some of the states in the Southeast are more sweet or less sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. But I try not to change, what I do just because I don't want to fall down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, you don't want to Rex in yourself like the TV show The League is like you're going to talk yourself out of a GC by just tweak. What's a tip you could give to like a newer cook? Like, I mean, that's something that we've all kind of faced in our journey in barbecue. As far as like when you go to a contest and you try something new and it doesn't hit, and the newer teams and the people who haven't been around enough, the first thing you want to do is like, all right, I gotta change everything.
Right.
They hated everything. What is something you would give advice to like the newer teams? Like how long do you give a process before you start making little tweaks?
The general rule is like 3 times, right? I think if it's not working after 3 times, then make small changes to it. And practice at home. Like I see a lot of the newer teams coming in and they have, and I was one of them. They have everything,
yes, under the
including
sun,
the kitchen sink. Like we used to look like the Beverly Hillbillies coming in where the back of the truck is loaded, and I just had stuff that I didn't even need. So it's take practice in your backyard, whatever you use, put on a table, and that's what you take to a contest. Maybe a couple of extra things just in case, but you don't need your entire house kitchen. Just keep it simple. Like have a timeline. Follow that timeline. I think that's the biggest thing for new teams is to have that timeline and establish one and follow it, because you see a lot of them just running around with their heads cut off, like frantic. And by having that timeline, there's times where you can sit down for 30 minutes and know something, have the process.
Yeah, that's definitely something I think me and Houston have changed over the years. Is like, you got to use that KISS method, so you just keep it simple, and that's how you can kind of like eyeball newer teams versus like more seasoned teams, because we're at a point now where I bring just enough for my comps. I don't have like a ton of extra stuff here or there.
Exactly.
It's like I literally have just enough sauce, just enough injection, just enough everything. Whereas like when we first started off, I mean, like you said, I think, but we brought everything but the kitchen sink. But I think those earlier contests, for the people that are watching that haven't done this yet, like the earlier contests, like you said, you stayed up all night. And we were more of a drinking team than a barbecue team. I mean, it was Bill, I'm sure your first contest was miserable. You're exhausted, you're tired.
Oh my God,
but you wouldn't trade that for anything. Like I'm sure that was one of your favorite contests I'm sure you ever done.
Yeah,
drank a ton.
The very first contest we did as Smoking Hogs, and it was just a regular single contest. It rained the entire weekend. It was my truck, my wife's SUV. There was like 6 of us. We're all sleeping in tents. We're at the bottom of this hill, this field, so it was muddy as could be, and it's just. But you know what though? We walked away with a 5th place brisket call.
And you felt like you won the jack.
Exactly. Yeah. So
no, like I said, new people that are watching our show and stuff like that are just getting into competition barbecue. Like, don't be intimidated by like when you show up and like see all these rigs and seasoned
Yeah.
teams. Like you're gonna have more fun than them, I promise you. And
Mhm.
more than likely you'll hear your name called, because we got like our name called the first time too. And it's something about new teams. It's like walking into a casino, being a new
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Right.
For some reason, like you have a better chance of winning than anybody else walking into that place.
Absolutely. Right.
And then
And the big rigs can lose just the same.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, it's like, it's the best thing in the world, like he says, for you to come in there and you win your little bowling trophy and $100, and then 5 years, 6 years down the road and $100,000 thrown away, and then here we are talking about barbecue on a Monday night. So that's
right. Yeah.
I think the thing I still laugh at is like how much food we would come home with.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
we would leave with like 2 dozen thighs,
catering gigs. Yeah.
like pounds of pulled pork. Like,
yeah, you cook like 6 to 8 butts,
yeah,
2 full briskets, a dozen racks of ribs, and you're like, why am I cooking all this food? Yeah.
And then you have here's the kicker. You have like 15 people there with you who are your buddies just hanging out. I mean, that's how we were.
Right.
It's like it's a party, it's a tailgate versus a barbecue contest.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just now it's now I'm doing I cook 12 thighs, 3 racks of ribs, 3 pork collars, and then a broken down brisket flat. You know what I mean? So it's like compared to what I did before, this is it's not bad. So.
Absolutely. Well, let's kind of talk about your different proteins, because you're definitely known for a couple of them for sure. I mean, chicken and ribs, from what I've gathered, has been kind of your your ace in the hole. How long of a process did it take you to kind of get your chicken to where you want to be? Because that's an intimidating protein, especially when you're starting off.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, like everybody else, they used to scrape and scrape and scrape, and I used to do 18 pieces of chicken, and it was a lot of work. It would take me hours, and
it's a lot of butter knife time.
Yeah, right. So, I took a class, and I stopped scraping, and this was 14 years ago. So I started using meat glue. And I used that up until about 6 years ago, and then refined my process a little bit back then. I can now trim 12 thighs and have them ready to go in 30 minutes.
It's moving.
Yeah. And I'm not scraping. I just, just kind of like fillet that little high spot on the inside of the skin, and that's about it, really.
If you don't mind me asking, like when you're trimming a thigh, obviously I'm not trying to give anything away for you, but what are you looking for as far as like your weight? Are you trying to square it off, like give them a nice square, and then are you trying to get like a certain ounces? Are you weighing your chicken thighs per?
I weigh them before and sometimes after. Like before, I'm looking like around 8 to 9 ounces before they're trimmed, and then afterwards, like 5.5. And so they're a little on the larger side. But that's about what I'm looking for. Yep.
I got you. And I know, like I said, you're a fan of the Peep Show, like me. The barbecue bus, like I said.
Oh yeah,
great
Brian,
sponsor of the show. And,
friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. But it's like I said, chicken was something. It was hard for us to kind of grasp and to get more consistent. I think consistent, you can try a bunch of different things, and you have sporadic luck, but chicken more so than anything is more just if you run your timeline, it's going to turn out similar every single time, versus some of the other bigger proteins. I mean, you got to kind of baby them.
Right. I mean, chicken, I think it's like you said, we had some success like last weekend cooking on the drum. I think we were like 13th in chicken. And it was the same process I do in my Humphreys, so it was the same flavor profile, the same timeline, everything. So I didn't really have to adjust anything with that.
Are you cooking like, so how many cookers do you have at a contest? You just had the Humphreys and
Just two Humphreys.
2 Humphreys.
Two-
So you're running.
Yep.
What proteins are you running in? Which are you
So-
pairing in? Like chicken and ribs or something? Or
Chicken and pork and ribs and brisket.
okay.
Yep.
Are you running weekenders?
Yeah. So I have 2 long weekenders and 2 battle boxes. And
Okay.
the battle boxes. So the long weekenders are they're kind of like an off the shelf kind of model where there's no customization. Where
Gotcha.
the other model you can customize however you want.
Nice.
Gotcha.
yeah,
We
so,
did have
yeah,
a question out of the
sure.
comment section, and
Yeah.
it was basically like, are you running those with a pick controller? Like a
I
Flame
am.
Boss or a
Yeah.
okay,
A Guru. Yeah.
Okay, Guru.
I run them out with a Guru. Yep.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said about the comment section. I had the wrong chat pulled up on it. I couldn't see any of the comments.
Yeah, I just clicked over to it because I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about the comments too.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, it's been
Sorry,
we took a
y'all.
week off, man. We were rusty. No, so did you say use the pick controller, fan controller on yours, or
Yeah. I use a barbecue Guru. Yep.
I got you. Well, good deal, man. No, so let's, like you said, ribs which is your favorite protein? Is ribs your favorite protein to cook, or which one out of all of them?
It was brisket for a while,
Mhm.
but I think it's always been ribs. Just I don't know what it is, but when you flip them over and they've got that mahogany color, that
So pretty.
Yeah, it's just I don't think there's anything sexier than a nice mahogany looking rib.
No,
Mhm.
it's like you talking about it earlier. It's like I look at like turn-in boxes and I'm like showing my wife like, look at this. This is like, look at this color. It's so pretty.
Right.
My wife's like, stop it. Just stop talking about rib boxes. But no. So what do you have a certain brand of ribs you like to run, or?
I do. Yeah, I use Compart.
Compart. Okay.
Nice.
Compart ribs. Yeah, and pork butts too. So I've been running them since 2018. So it's good.
I got
good
you.
7 years now. Yeah.
Are you a Compart team? Are they one of your sponsors?
Yep. They're one of my sponsors. Yep.
I got you. I feel like Compart teams, like, 'cause, like when I first started off out, I looked at Compart because I saw Robert and Lex. Robert and Lex.
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they were Compart as well, and I'm like, man, their ribs are so nice. So I need to cook only Compart. And then the one I feel like the sponsor teams get the thick ones because all the Compart ribs I found are always they were thin boys. I think they left that for us newbies.
No, I don't know. I mean, not in my experience.
I got it. Well, like I said, you pick them better.
They come in and whatever I get, I cook. I mean,
I got you.
Sometimes they can be a little thin, whatever, but I cook what I get. Yeah.
Let me ask you, when you're looking at picking out a rib, like, so if everybody knows like the 3 categories of rib that you're going to look for, you're going to look for, marbling, you're going to look for thickness, and then make sure, the fat content on there, or I'm not fat content, the weight. What like out of those 3, like what would you rank like 1, 2, 3? Like when you're trying to pick out a really good rib, is it the thickness? Is it the marbling or color? Like what is it? What are you looking for?
I'm probably gonna say the marbling. I just think that's gonna give you the most flavor. All that fat throughout the piece of meat. I'm not too concerned about the thickness because if it's well marbled, it's going to taste really good.
So you're not worried about thickness?
Not too much. No. Like I know sometimes they can be a little thick on one end versus the other. That doesn't bother me. As long as it's well marbled, I'm fine with that.
I feel like in down here, the winter hogs, when they start slaughtering, that's when you get the nice, thick, consistent all the way across rib versus I feel like calling the summer hogs later on in the fall when you start getting some of those and they start getting a little wavy. Yeah. I always have a hard time because ribs has been one of the hardest categories for us to be consistent about.
To not get massacred in after we've done okay.
And like I said, that when I get the thinner like I said, the thin ribs, it's always harder for me to keep that tenderness because in KCBS
Sure.
tenderness is the key.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, that's cool. And also, so like on your ribs, are you doing like 8 bones or are you trying to keep them
I trim them down to 11.
11 bones? Okay, you get
11 bones. Yeah, and the reason because
you have the space for it. I mean,
I have the space. Yeah, because they go from left to right and they fit perfect on a cooking grate, and I can get 3 of those on one cooking grate.
awesome. We have a great question from one of our viewers who said, with the
I was
Humphreys,
just about to. I was trying to figure out how to get that up.
with the heat coming in from the top of the Humphreys, do you go meat side or bone side up?
I do meat side up, and
Okay.
I don't have it at the top. It's sitting down maybe like the 3rd rack from the top, so it's not getting that direct pounding of heat.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. So like. We've talked about different guests on here. There's different, cooking apparatuses and stuff like that. I think pellet grills put out a really nice rib and consistently and non-burn. Do you think there's different proteins that are better for different grills are better on different proteins? Like chicken in a can. I mean, a lot of people, especially around here, I know people that have Outlaws and Jambos and all stuff. When it comes to chicken, everybody does cans around this area.
Yeah. And I mean, just because I really haven't cooked on, I've never cooked on an Outlaw or a Jambo. So, I mean, I don't really know, but I know, I have a pellet grill here at home and, ribs come out good on that. I had a Backwoods. The ribs used to come out awesome.
Yeah.
The Backwoods was like a rib cooking machine back in the day.
Right. I'm sure the Humphreys, because you don't have that burn, the can you can get really charred underneath. And it's that fine line you got to walk on a can. But like with the Humphreys, I'm sure it has that nice, consistent,
I tell you, the color that I do my ribs and my pork coming off the Humphreys is just absolutely gorgeous. You get to a point where you can start to see that kind of yellow fat from the mixing with the rub, like it's kind of bubbling a little bit, and that's kind of what I look for on my Humphreys when I'm doing my ribs, and even on the pork, it does the same thing. So it doesn't take long. It's only like for my pork, it's like an hour and a half, and my ribs are maybe I'm cooking them a lot lower in temperature, so it's only like maybe 2.5 hours. They start to show that nice color. So yeah.
Awesome, man. You have speaking about doing chicken and ribs, you have your own blend. What am I trying to say? Own line.
Seasonings.
You have a line of
seasoning.
Yeah. I'm having
I
a brain
do.
fart. Thank you for bailing me out, Bill.
No worries.
Your own line of seasonings. How big? Definitely. Want you to talk about all your seasonings and sauces you have, but how big of a impact is that on your actual programs that you use?
I use all my own products. A couple of other products, kind of sprinkled in, but the base of everything I do is with my own stuff. So I have 3 rubs. I have an Applewood all-purpose rub. I have a rib rub, and I have my newest one is called the Perfect Storm. It's a buttery chipotle rub. And then I have a barbecue sauce as well.
I got you. I've had your rib rub and it is fantastic. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is, like I said, my buddy who took your class, he runs that, and he let me try some. I always want to try new rubs and stuff, and it's definitely a delicious rub. It's one of those. I feel like it's a complete pack. In competition barbecue, we're always layering flavors and trying to get the biggest punch. I almost feel like that doesn't need hardly anything else. It's such a well balanced rub.
Yeah. Thank you. And that's the only rub I use on my ribs.
Is it really?
Honest to God, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. Rib tell all right here.
There we go. There it is.
Yeah, do his rib. Well, that's awesome, man. That just shows like the level of confidence you have in your own products. If that's like this is, and you win pretty consistently with it. So that just goes show you like you don't need to throw the kitchen sink on your meat to do it.
Yeah, I like I said, I try to keep my process simple. And when I was doing the classes, when I was doing the online classes, and when Mike was watching my whole process, he goes, "Man," he goes, "compared to everybody else that I've filmed," he said, "you probably have the simplest process out of all of them."
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, "Well," I said, "I designed it that way because, you know, first I'm going to use my own products. I'm not making these products just for show. Like I want to actually show, yeah, these products do work, you know." But yeah, I just try to keep things simple.
I got you. Is that like how long like have you been doing your own rubs and sauces and stuff? Is that something you done later on that you kind of developed or?
Yeah. So after we won the Royal in 2014, I got approached by a co-packer and asked if I wanted to bring, if I had any products that I wanted to bring to market. And the very first product that I had out there was my all-purpose rub.
Okay.
And that was, I think, in 2015. Yeah.
How long of a
I always
process
love
was?
hearing that.
Yeah,
I love hearing
love.
about the process between like, you've
Sure.
got a product that you're using yourself, but then you
Yep.
get to that stage where you're meeting with packers and
Yeah. So it was interesting for sure. So I had a recipe and it probably made like 2 pounds, you know, and I'm just using off the shelf spices. So they take the recipe and, you know, they convert everything. Like it'd be 2 tablespoons of this or whatever. And, you know, they'd have to weigh it out and okay, so 2 tablespoons is however many grams. And that's how they would do it. So we went back and forth a few times just to get the profile right. And yeah, it was just kind of cool to go through that whole process, you know, because my ingredients might be a little bit different. Like my paprika could be a little bit different than their paprika.
true.
You know, so
There's a lot.
yeah.
There's a lot more fresher than the ones you can get at your
Correct.
store.
Yeah. So it's funny because when they would send the samples, even though it was the same ingredients, but it just popped more because of the freshness of the ingredients. You know.
Right. How many batches did you have to go through before you were ready to market?
I want to say probably like 4 or 5, maybe 3, 4, 5 on that first go around with the all-purpose rub. Yeah.
I got you. And then so from the all-purpose, you went to what's the next rub you did?
The rib rub. Yep.
I got you.
And
So
then
when
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, when you're going through these batches, how much creative input do they give you? I mean, are they coming to you and saying, you know, how close are we? Where do we need to move it to?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, like I think it might have been the rib rub. It, you know, we had a couple things where I said, okay, it maybe needs a little bit more garlic, or like maybe it's not sweet enough, so maybe add a little bit more sugar or whatever. And you know, I don't know how much to add. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, oh, maybe 10% more or something.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Just kind of trusting those guys. You know,
and then
scientists.
comparing to what I have made versus what they send me. You know,
Mhm.
and that's always tough because, like I said, the ingredients are different. Even though they're the same, they're different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And then I guess did the sauce come before your barbecue sauce? Did it come before the Chipotle?
Yeah. So the barbecue sauce. Trying to think. I think it was the sauce and the all-purpose. So the sauce I had done, that was from a different co-packer, but the sauce and the all-purpose rub were pretty close as far as the timing. And then the last one was my Perfect Storm, that buttery chipotle rub.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I want to hit you with some fun stories. That's one thing, you know, people always love hearing. What is one like do you have like a funny comp story that everything kind of went wrong that all of a sudden you were able to pull through or anything? Like what's some of your most memorable comps you did?
I can tell you
obviously the jack, but
yeah, right. Well, I can tell you the story about my first GC. So we had rolled into this contest. It was 2011, and we had done one contest before then, and I made a small little tweak to the brisket, and we hadn't really we got a couple calls at that other contest, so this was like our second contest of the season, and there was, I don't know, 70 something teams, and we felt pretty confident with everything. So I think we got like a chicken call. We might have got like a high rib call or something, and I don't think we got anything in pork. And then they called us first place for brisket. Well, me and my teammate jumped up, go to high five each other, completely missed, and his thumb goes in my eye. So I'm up on stage with a cold beer, with the trophy, like, yeah, and I'm all embarrassed. And I said, if we get like a top 10 call to go up, I said, I'm not going up. Well, sure enough, they called us for GC, and I was the first one up on stage.
Of course.
Still holding the beer on my eye, and yeah. So that was a fun night.
I got you. Is there a contest that you can think of that, like I said, it's something that kind of rubbed you the wrong way, or somewhere you not rubbed you the wrong way, but kind of everything kind of went, had a lot of turmoil?
Man. Yeah, I mean, I'll even say like last year, was it last year? No, 2 years ago, we're up in Vermont, and it's a double. And we got GC the first day, and the next day, it just felt like just something was off. And we weren't happy with chicken, and weren't happy with rib. I think it was more ribs and pork or something like that. And we got a good call. We got like a high call in chicken. And then they called us first place on ribs. And I'm like, wow. I said, there's no way that happened, And then we got like a better call or like a top 5 call in pork. And then another first place call in brisket or something like that. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, it felt like everything just wasn't
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Falling
Like
apart.
you know what I mean? And then they called us for GC. So we swept the weekend, and I'm like, wow. I said, I don't know how that happened, but yeah, it was, yeah, it was kind of crazy.
I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, I'm sure you have too, where you've turned in like chicken or ribs, something like that, and you're like, this is first place. Like, I'm getting top 3. This is a top 3, and then you don't hear your name called.
Yeah, and then you're like 30th or something. Yeah, or whatever.
Then you have like a piece of pork that you burnt and dropped on the ground, and then it gets a top 5 call.
Yeah.
Or throw in a trash can.
Or throw in a trash can. Whatever.
We didn't get a call in chicken, ribs, pork. Come down to brisket. They called us first place brisket. I'm like, all right, cool. And I remember leading up to that, and I turned to my wife and I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And then they called us first place brisket. And I'm like, okay, well, all right, that's good. I'm happy with I'm back, right? And I'm thinking, okay, there was 2 other teams that had 3 calls. And I'm like, all right, I'm expecting one of them to be, GC, the other RGC, and maybe we might make the top 10. So they called one of the teams for third, the other team for second. I'm like, who won this thing? And all of a sudden they called us with 1 first place call in brisket, and they called us for GC. I was floored. I was like, there's no way that just happened. Yeah.
Wow. What do you think about the scores as of late? If you're watch like the KCBS like website, how they get the 700 club, the 180 club, the 350 club.
Yep.
Which Houston we are officially a part of now.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're excited about that. That's our first contest this year. We got the 350 club, but I mean the scores this year have. I'm sure tell people the scores when you first start off versus the scores now. I'm sure when you first start off, you had a 700 or a 698. I mean, you won that thing.
Oh, I can tell you, I won a contest with a 632. If you can believe that, and that would be
DAL now, probably.
It would be, yeah, with a 632. That was, I think that was my second GC in 2011. That was down the Cape Cod, Oh yeah, the scores have. I mean, the Northeast was notoriously known for low scores, and we finally have crept up into the a couple of 700 calls and 180s and stuff. But that was unheard of up here in the Northeast for sure.
They're stingy with them stickers.
Oh,
Yeah.
I tell you, they were. But I can attribute all of that, I think, to all the classes that are out there. I think every year the competition is getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
And it's because of all those classes. And there's nothing wrong with that because people want to win. You know, it's not a cheap hobby. So if you're gonna go out there and do it, you're gonna go out there and do it. You're gonna pay for that class. You're gonna do what you can to try to win. And I think everybody's turning in really good food.
Especially chicken, as I've noticed, like chicken scores over the last 3 years have shot up dramatically.
Yeah.
Dramatically.
I mean, you can go on to the barbecue data and see what you've done over the years, like what your average score has been for each category and for overall. And every year that average goes up.
Yeah. It's like especially like when you get to like big contests like the Royal, or I mean those contests are a crapshoot anyways, but I mean the Royal and I mean any huge contest, it's going to be like you got to cook perfect, and then it's almost like you cook perfect and then you get a raffle ticket, because I mean at the Royal especially, I mean what the top what 10 all have 180s. I mean
it seems like that. I tell you, there's a couple. Was it 2 years ago or last year? Dessert. I think the top 42 teams had 180s in dessert.
Yeah, I'm sure like the top 20 had perfects.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right.
I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, at that point, I was like, you can't do better. It's insane. It's I wouldn't say disheartening, because you know if you get a 180, I mean it's an honor no matter what place you got. I mean we've got a 180 in third, and I mean I've gotten a 178.6 and gotten a sixth place. So I mean you couldn't cook any better. But it's just at this point I think like you said, everybody's the knowledge and the learning curve is shrunk down dramatic. It's shrunk down dramatically. So it's anybody's game at this point, which I'm happy to see. Because I want this sport, KCBS. Like I said, KCBS has a lot of flaws, but they do a lot of good things as well. I mean, like I said, if it wasn't for the KCBS and all the other sanctioning bodies, then we would all be overspending on tailgate equipment. Right. I mean, if you took the sanctioning bodies out and the judges and stuff like that, I mean, they're such a an integral part of our process. But what is one thing that you wish if you were ahead of KCBS, what is one thing you would like to see to help grow the sport more? Because like I said, we all want the sport to grow and more people to get into it and stuff like that. What is one thing you wish you would see that would kind of help grow the sport?
Wow, that's a good one. I've honestly never really thought about it too much, to be honest with you.
For me personally, it was I want to see more crowd participation. Like I want to get the public involved. I feel
more
like
people's choice. I think,
well,
that's one of the things.
Cooking demonstrations or something like that, or I mean something like that. Because I mean, because we got to bring value to. Because I mean, especially pro contests. I mean, they're not cheap to put on, and it takes a lot of timing, and a lot of times, like down here, they tag along with like a festival or something, a fair, and like we gotta have something
fundraiser.
Like we gotta have something where like the organizers can make money too, because right now a lot of times it's a money loser.
No, that's a good point. I think the public comes to these events and it's like they want to taste the food, but I think if you had a couple of people, like you said, doing demos and getting the public involved with that would definitely help grow the sport. I think that's a good idea.
Well, I mean, Lord, they can do it with chess. Like I said, they're turning get sports like chess into a spectator's like huge internet sensation. I mean, everybody loves barbecue. Barbecue is sexy, and it's it's all over Netflix. It's all over TV. Like I love we saw the original barbecue boom whenever Mo and all them boys did
Pitmasters.
Pitmasters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
Yeah.
got us into it. And then I kind of saw a resurgence of that whenever they did the Food Network Barbecue USA. Like that was fantastic. And and it's all over like the food channels. Like I'm a Food Network junkie, and I watch. And American barbecue it's a huge. People love American barbecue, and it's one of those things. So I mean, I don't see how we can't figure out some way to get the public involved. Because like I said, a lot of times the public comes to these contests, and what do you want if you're not a cooker? I mean, you want to try barbecue. Like if I'm going to a barbecue fair or festival, like I'm expecting to eat up my fill of barbecue, and like it's so weird. Like they go these things like, hey, you've had it before. The people walk to your trailer like, hey, you have any barbecue I can try? And I'm like,
if they come up to me and say, hey, you have anything I can try? Or if they come up to me and start asking me questions about my equipment, and then I'm like, hey, you want to try a rib? Then or I'll say, hey, I'm Bill, and I'm Stan or whatever. Like, oh, okay, now we're friends. I can feed you, kind of thing. Because technically, we're not supposed to feed the public, So I said, but I can feed my friends, So,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's one thing I feel like is missing in the upper echelons of barbecue. Like, see, even these barbecue comps, and especially the pro contests, more so than I say the backyard. But I mean, people are just hibernating in their trailers. They're not as much socializing as it should be, and I think they need to bring that back. People are like taking things too serious. I mean, half of the fun about going to a barbecue contest is seeing your friends and hanging out and having a good time. I mean, that's one thing I feel like in the especially in the pro circuit that I feel like commingling and more of a community is something that we could also improve upon.
Yeah, and back when I first started, there was a team that every contest they would have this thing called Damn Dip, and it was always be served at midnight, on most of the country does Friday, Saturday. So we up here we do Saturday, Sunday. So it would be midnight on Saturday night. You'd go over to their site, this big giant cast iron pan filled with this chili cheese and whatever, with about 40 bags of chips, and everybody's just sitting there just digging into it at midnight, while the guy at a site he's got a shirt off trimming ribs at midnight, and it's just this big social thing. Beers, the magic beer cooler, you reach in, whatever you grab, that's what you drink.
Oh, look, it grew back.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so it's just that's what it was like back then, and you really don't see that too much anymore.
I wonder why that is. Is it just people taking this thing too seriously, or?
Well, I think a lot of it is it's the hot and fast thing, right?
Yeah.
People go to bed at 8:00 because they got to get up at 4 or 5 to fire up their pits. Where before you were tending to that offset all night, so you're doing shifts or something. You're up all night tending to that. And,
that's a good point.
I think the low and slow aspect of things has kind of gone away, and the hot and fast is more convenient for sure, and you can produce just as good barbecue. So why wouldn't you do that? I totally get it, but
but that's one thing. Like I said, I mean, the question we have anytime you're like in a backyard scene, especially, and you start getting pretty consistent calls and consistently, awards and stuff like that, the first question you're going to get is, when y'all making the jump? When are you going to make the jump? When are you going to make the jump? And me and Houston have talked about it, and we have in our little area, we have such a huge community that we all, we do potlucks every contest. I mean, we're always hanging out, talking to each other, partying. And it's like, if I feel like in barbecue, it's all about the community for us down here. And it's like, if, people ask me like, when you making a jump, I'm like, well, when everybody else does, I'm game. But if we had our whole little cruise, like, yeah, we're all, jumping pro, I'm like, okay, well, me too.
Right. Yeah.
Let's do it. It's not so much like the competition. I feel like some people have like a negative connotation when they think backyard. Like backyard, especially nowadays with the classes and stuff like that. I mean, they're 2 meat pros. I mean, hell, last year,
pull up and get smoked.
Yeah, I mean,
there's some, depending on what tournament you're at, there's some awesome cooks.
Oh, I know.
In the backyard category.
Yeah. Oh, it's especially out here on the East Coast too. I mean, any of these guys could jump up to the pros and kick all our butts. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not that it could be. It could be a financial reason why.
That's
you
a
know
big.
what I'm
That's a big
saying?
reason.
Like,
Yeah, is the financial. Because
yeah.
$1,000 contest per
Right.
contest versus 500, 600.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like I said, it's not a cheap probably, but like I said, I mean, for instance, like World Foods, friends of ours, they backyard team won the barbecue World Food championship last year.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, man. Like I said, I love seeing those kind of things, and
Yeah.
I know plenty of teams that that whenever they make the jump, like for instance, their teams called Ham Squad.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, Dave Dick. Yeah,
Dave Dick, Optimus Swine, John Wade, and all them
all
boys.
those guys. Yeah,
I mean, they made the jump. I mean, they're
they're crushing it. Yeah.
Crushing it. I mean, it's not a lack of that. It's just I think it's just I don't know. Us being backyards, we try to be the voice for the backyard community.
Sure.
I won't say we are, but we try to always promote the backyard community, and it's we
the voice they didn't ask for.
Yeah, the voice they didn't ask for. We just forced it down their throats. But no, man, I definitely love seeing the backyard community seems to grow and it continues to compete and step up when needed be. But no, man. But Bill, I appreciate it. Like I said, this is the time of show. We're gonna wrap it up here soon, but this is the Brothers Q Barbecue Supply Lightning Round, brought to you by Brothers Q Barbecue Supply for all your barbecue supply needs. We're gonna ask you a series of quick questions, like I said, little one hitters. And said, don't think about it too hard. And you ready to roll?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, man. If you're going on vacation, where are you going, to the beach or the mountains?
The beach.
All right, man. If you had a meat Rushmore, who would be on your mountain?
Oh man, Chris Hart. Oh God. Probably you gotta put Myron up there, Tuffy. Oh man. Johnny Trigg for sure,
Good old Trigg. Awesome. All right. What is one thing you have in your trailer at every competition that you can't live without and you cannot say your meat thermometer?
My bottle of Gentleman Jack in the freezer.
There you go, man. There you go.
Every contest. Yep.
I bet it keeps you nice and toasty up there in the Northeast winters.
It certainly does.
Awesome, man. Awesome. All right. If you, what is one thing that you would tell your younger self when you first started off that now that you wish you knew then?
Save your money.
Save your money. No, you wouldn't change it, man. You wouldn't change it.
I wouldn't.
If you take away one protein in KCBS and replace it with something else, what would you do? And what would you replace it with?
Man. Pork. Change it to beef ribs.
Oh, then you'd have to do it low and slow, man. You can't be doing no.
Exactly, right.
No hot and fast.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right. What is
I got one more.
Go ahead, Houston. Hit him with it.
What's your favorite of your rubs?
There you go.
Ooh.
If you could only use one for the rest of your life, what would you use?
One for the rest of my life. I'm gonna go with the all-purpose rub. That thing, man, it's good on everything. It's good on vegetables. It's good on potatoes. It's my all-purpose rub.
Awesome. All right, if you could win, like I said, you've had some huge, world champion Bill Gillespie. Like you've won the accolades, but if you could go back and you have a guarantee win of any barbecue competition, which one would you choose? Across all sanctioning bodies.
All sanctioning bodies. I'm going to say the Jack.
The Jack again?
I think so. It's just this aura about it, It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. I think I'd almost go, and I never cooked MBN in my life, but I'd almost want to do Memphis and May.
Yeah. That'd be cool too. Yeah, that'd be cool too.
Awesome. What is one thing if you could change something about competition barbecue, what is one thing you would change?
No garnish.
Interesting.
All right, last question. If I want this, I'm stealing this from Luke Darnell, but if you could have a billboard with one saying on it, you could get your message across to all the people, what would it say?
Oh boy. Man.
Heavy thinkers, that's what we do here on Right on Cue.
Right? No kidding. Oh, what would it say? Keep smoking on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Keep smoking on.
It's something.
Awesome. Well, Bill, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, man. I truly appreciate you. You've been a wonderful guest.
And
thanks for having me. Not bad for a Yankee, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, not bad, right? Yeah.
Not bad. No, man. So let the people know where they can find you, and do you have any sponsors you want to give
where they
shout
can
out?
buy your stuff.
Yeah, where they can buy your stuff, because that stuff's delicious. Check his stuff out.
So pretty much every barbecue supply store that's out there, Whiskey Bent, Barbecue Superstore, they all carry my stuff. You can find me on my website, www.smokinghogsbbq.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, I think X,
whatever it's calling itself.
Whatever it is now, Twitter, X, So Humphreys Smokers, Hammerstall Knives, the Barbecue Bus, Peep Show, Snake River Farms, Compart, Royal Oak Charcoal. I'm missing some, and I apologize, but So
and guys, if you haven't done it yet, make sure
Butcher Barbecue. Sorry,
Butcher Barbecue. I got some Butcher right here, man. I got half your sponsors right here, man.
There you go. Right,
Butcher
perfect.
Barbecue.
Yep.
Now,
and Bill, you've got a book series too.
Yes.
Yeah, I've written 4 cookbooks. They're all available on Amazon or anywhere books are sold. Just search Bill Gillespie and you should be able to find my books. Sure.
I want to get some and have you give you a signed one for us, man.
Yeah, I'll be in Nashville another month and a half. So
awesome, man. And also, if you guys haven't taken this class on Barbecue Champs Academy, man, make sure you click that link and sign up for it, because my friend has went on and he's changed his program. So
you also get access to a private Facebook page where you can ask questions and. Yeah, definitely, it's good.
I mean, there's just a Facebook page alone where you can hammer Bill questions like we have tonight. Yeah, and he has to respond to you. He has to.
Yep.
Contractual obligations. He has to respond to all.
That's right.
Bill, like I said, man, thank you so much, man. I truly appreciate you coming on, and you have been a wonderful guest. And I look forward to seeing you in Nashville, man. I'll try to track down that bottle for you. So
awesome. I appreciate that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Send me that number. Send me that number, and I'll get you taken care of.
I did. Yep.
All right.
Yep. All right. I did. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.
See you, buddy.
Hey, thank you.
Man, awesome. That was cool. Ooh, there we go.
It's fantastic.
That's too big. That's
too big. I was like, ooh,
there we go. Ooh,
it's too close.
No, man. That Bill's fantastic. Another great show, man. Houston, thank you. Good to have you back on, buddy. I've been missing you a little bit. I'll get some. Are you ready for a Lobster Fest? Are you coming to Lobster Fest?
I don't think I'm going to Lobster Fest. I realized we're going out of town that weekend. We're going out of town for Easter.
I got you.
I mean, nothing would make me happier than to go watch Robbie eat himself into like a coma at a Red Lobster. But I already have plans. Unfortunately,
I can't tell you the last time I went to Red Lobster, and I can't wait. I'm excited.
This group of dudes goes to Lobster Fest every year and has now for like 4 or 5 years, and it's become kind of its own idiotic tradition, but it's hysterical. I mean, to just go and drink like the big $15 like bright blue punch bowl margaritas, and like
what could go wrong? What could go wrong? What could go wrong? But no, man,
it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun. And like you said, speaking of fun, make sure you guys please tune in next week. We got another great one lined up. I cannot wait. And also tonight, I did not say it till later, but if you're watching this show or listening to it, share the show, and I will go back and with all your friends, and I will go back and I'm going to give away a little care package I said our show is one of our sponsors is Bob Trudnick, Bobby T, and he has
Bobby
his
T.
own blend of like I said, the perfect pizza dough and blend. What am I saying? Products. He has his own
just freestyling.
pretty much, yeah, freestyling. No, pizza products. Like I said, you got dough and the sauce, and this stuff is amazing. It's made of real stuff. It's real good. So make sure you guys check it out. I'll be sending this to one lucky guest whoever shares this show tonight. So make sure you give it a share.
And maybe while you're at it, like and subscribe to the show.
Like that, and more importantly, like and subscribe to this show, whatever platform you listen to it on, or however you consume this media. Make sure you give us a like, share, and subscribe because we love you guys, and we don't feel your love unless you like us first. It's like a high school popularity contest, and we got to be your friend. So
it is.
Please,
I'm a needy bitch.
I am a needy bitch. Yes, please be my friend. Please be my friend. Sit at my table at lunch. Come hang out with us on Monday at 7. And we love you guys. We love you guys. Apple, Spotify, click like. What are you doing? You're listening to it now. Click like. Don't do it now. No. But all right, guys. But that's our show. That's my begging for the week. But as always, when it comes to barbecue, make sure you're always right on cue. See you guys.
That's all, folks.